Resolution number 25-566, in the matter of adjourning out of executive session.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, vote.
Vote on motion 25-566. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
The board has two other items they would like to address right now. Resolution number 25-567, in the matter of approving a memorandum of understanding between the Delaware County Board of Commissioners, the Delaware County Department of Environmental Services, and America Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, Ohio Council 8, AFL-CIO.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Morning, Commissioners. Tiffany Mag, Director of Environmental Services. So this MOU establishes the new wages for the rest of 2025 from July 1st through the end of 2025 for our union employees, as well as a new wage scale for the rest of this year.
Okay, thank you. Any further comments? Vote, please.
Vote on motion 25-567. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Resolution number 25-568, in the matter of approving the collective bargaining agreement between the Delaware County Board of Commissioners for and on behalf of the Delaware County Department of Environmental Services and America Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, Ohio Council 8, AFL-CIO.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
So we recently completed negotiations with the union for the 2026 through 2028 contract. So this is the new contract that will become effective January 1st.
Okay. Excellent contract. Vote, please.
Vote on motion 25-568. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tiffany.
Thanks, David.
All right. That brings us to our public hearing this morning. Public hearing for consideration of the Chancel Gate Watershed Drainage Improvement Project, and we will note the time of 10:28.
Okay.
Yes.
Welcome, everyone, to the final hearing for the consideration of the Chancel Gate number 354 Watershed Drainage Improvement Project. There's a sign-in sheet that's circulating. If everyone would sign in, whether you're going to speak or not, it indicates your attendance. And I'll give you a little review of what's going to happen today. We'll hear a summary of the final hearing report from the county engineer and the Soil and Water Conservation District. Following the summary presentation, there will be a time for questions from the board. After board questions, the board will hear from any interested owners that wish to testify. Those speaking for or against the petition must be an owner as defined in section 6131.01 of the Ohio Revised Code. The board will then acknowledge receipt of any landowner written testimony before hearing live testimony. We will first call all those wishing to testify in favor of the project, and then we'll call all those willing to testify in opposition to the project. Before testifying, I will be asking you to take an oath. After all those wishing to testify for or against the project have been heard, there will be an opportunity for responsive or rebuttal testimony. The board will then close the public hearing, after all testimony and evidence has been presented. After listening to testimony and the report of the engineer, the board will decide whether to find in favor of the improvement, affirm the previous order, confirm the assessments, and approve the payment schedule. Or the board may dismiss the petition and set aside the previous order. The board must consider the following factors in making its decision: whether the proposed improvement is necessary, whether the proposed improvement will be conducive to the public welfare, and whether the cost of the proposed amendment will be less than the benefit that the improvement provides. And next, we will hear from Brett Bacon from Soil and Water.
Good morning, Commissioners. Brett Bacon, Deputy Administrator, Soil and Water Conservation District. I have a short presentation over the project, and then I'll be happy to answer any questions the board might have. The Chancellgate Drainage Improvement Project has been requested per Ohio Revised Code Section 6131. The petition for drainage improvements was filed by Stephen Corby and others on November 20th, 2020, and the viewing was held May 10th, 2021. The first hearing was held September 30th, 2021, at which time the board directed the county engineer and Soil and Water District to move ahead with preparation of engineering plans. The petition specifically requests in Delaware County, Concord Township, within the Chancellgate watershed, and generally following but not limited to the course and termini of the existing improvements, to generally improve the drainage, both surface and subsurface, to a good and sufficient outlet by replacing, repairing, or altering existing improvements as required and or creating new surface and subsurface drainage mains or laterals as requested by this petition. The watershed for this project is approximately 84 acres. It is entirely rural residential with some areas of woods, and the original petition was signed by 5 individuals representing 5 of the 54 parcels in the watershed. Those parcels can be seen here highlighted in blue. The work to be proposed or to be completed if the project is approved will consist of surface drain swale, subsurface drainage tile installation, the installation of a blind inlet, erosion control structures, clearing of brush and vegetation, and seeding and mulching. I'm going to show the video that was shown for the viewing for the project. So this was done in March of 2021. By the time we were able to try to do a drone video, now the leaves were out. It just wasn't, nothing was visible. So this is just meant to give you an overview of the project area. Okay. Project construction cost estimate. Construction, $81,568.44.
Brett, I
Yes.
don't think that video showed.
It didn't, yeah.
It didn't show?
It didn't show.
No.
No,
You're kidding.
no.
It was playing on here.
We thought you were working to fix
Yeah.
it.
No.
Yeah.
Hold on. Sorry, I was watching the video on my screen. Okay, let's try this.
There
Okay,
you go.
sorry about that.
Now, yeah.
Okay, somebody should have stopped me.
I just thought
We
you were having
kept
technical
waiting.
difficulty.
Yeah. Now
And
you know
this was
why I-
taken when?
March of 2021. Okay, now we'll move on to project construction cost estimate. Construction, $81,568.44. Administration, planning, and inspection, $10,935.57. Drainage maintenance, first year pay, and $4,625.20. Contingency, $13,000 for a total estimate of $110,129.21. Assessments. The Ohio Revised Code instructs the county engineer to calculate assessments to property owners based on the benefits received. The code further goes on to quote, "Uplands that have been removed from their natural state by deforestation, cultivation, artificial drainage, urban development, or other human methods shall be considered as benefited by an improvement that is required to dispose of the accelerated flow of water from the uplands." Assessments are calculated using the following formula. Acres benefited times the land use factor times the percent use equals the parcel assessment factor. The parcel percent share equals the parcel assessment factor divided by the sum of all the assessment factors. And the parcel assessment equals the percent share times the total estimated cost. Landowners have two options to pay their assessment. They may pay it in full upfront within 30 days of the final hearing, which in this case would be by August 27th, and also must give notice of intent by August 18th. Or they can have their assessment placed on the property tax bill as a special assessment. Choosing this option would include interest and other fees if the project is bonded and the auditor's treasurer's 2% collection fee. To give an example of an amortization of an assessment, the total estimated construction cost of $110,129.21 using a sample assessment of $2,202.58, which would equal a 2.0% share of the project. Debt issuing fees would equal $8,000 as an example. Using a 4% interest example, this would produce $4,405.16 in interest, giving us a total estimated finance cost of $122,534.37. 2% of this amount is $2,450.68, and 2% of that for the auditor's treasurer's fees is $49, giving us a total assessment for the average parcel of $2,499.68. Breaking this out over an example of an 8-year and a 15-year repayment schedule, you can see that the 8-year would be $156.23 per half for 8 years, and for 15 years it would be $83.32 per half. All approved projects are advertised for public bid, with the lowest and best bid to be awarded the contract. And these projects are typically not subject to prevailing wage. Bids may not be accepted in excess of the final hearing engineer's estimate, and if the construction is less than the engineer's estimate, the final schedule of assessments is reduced pro rata by the difference between the estimated cost and final cost. In this case, upfront payments would receive a refund. Drainage maintenance. Ohio Revised Code 6137 requires all completed projects to be placed onto drainage maintenance, with the purpose of maintenance to keep the project operating at its design capacity. Maintenance funds are also collected as a special assessment, and common maintenance activities include inspections, seeding, repairs, and erosion control. Maintenance assessments are determined based on the final schedule of construction assessments, with most of our projects averaging between 2.5% and 5% collection annually. Collection percentage can vary depending on the maintenance needs of the project, and drainage maintenance is perpetual. Going back to our example here, using the final example or sample construction assessment of $2,200.58 and assuming a 5% maintenance collection plus the auditor's treasurer's fees, this would equal an annual maintenance assessment of $112.32. And you can see that equals out to $56.16 per half and is collected in concurrently with the construction assessments. Cost-benefit analysis. Benefits to residential parcels focus on quality of life, neighborhood perception, and home site sewage treatment systems. A failed home site sewage treatment system can cost $15,000 to $25,000 to repair or replace. New developments average $8,700 per lot spent on providing adequate drainage outlets. And with 26 residential parcels in the watershed, this could equal an average benefit of $226,200. For roadways, the lack of an adequate outlet can lead to water on the road surface and within the road base, resulting in traffic safety hazards and increased maintenance of the roadway surface. Other benefits potentially realized focus on quality of life and positive neighborhood perception. Communities with planned and well-maintained stormwater drainage systems generally have higher resale values than those without. Decisions before the board. Your options are to approve the project in whole or deny the project in whole. Approval will require setting repayment period and whether to bond, confirming the schedule of assessments, and ordering the project to be advertised for competitive bid. If the decision is to deny, it is recommended to distribute costs incurred to this point to the landowners in the same ratio as determined by the final schedule of assessments. The estimated cost to date would equal $6,000. Engineer's recommendation. Based on all of the information gathered and generated, I believe this project as proposed is technically feasible and would serve as an adequate outlet for the drainage needs of the watershed. Furthermore, the parcel assessments for this project are within the range of assessments that can be expected for a project of this scope. The testimony brought to the Board of Commissioners by the landowners as to whether the benefits of this project exceed the costs should be given significant consideration in the decision to move forward with this project. Sorry, I'm trying to get the map up. It's not working. Well, okay. Be happy to answer any questions the board might have.
Okay.
I have
Any
none.
questions?
No, none at this
None
point.
for me either, then. Thank you, Brett. Okay,
There it is.
Yeah,
there's the map.
finally. Okay.
Okay, thank you. All right, at this point, we'll hear from anyone wishing to testify, and again, those, let me, oh, I know, we need to acknowledge first, we received
did.
a couple of letters.
Yes,
Okay,
we,
so-
the board did receive some written objection letters that we need to acknowledge and to determine that the assessment, they could not be, there was not an exception to the assessments. So the first one we received was from SDATTA, and you have a resolution in front of you that I will read that. Resolution number 25-569, in the matter of the Delaware County Board of Commissioners acknowledging receipt of the written objection, exception to the assessment, and claim for compensation or damages filed by SDATTA in this proceedings for the Cancelgate Watershed Drainage Improvement Project and denying the exception and claim.
Need a motion? So moved.
Second?
Discussion?
So the board may consider the written objections as if the person were here, but they may not consider the exception or the claim.
Okay. Denial of, yeah, the exception. We may not consider that. Okay.
Vote on motion 25-569. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
And the second one the board received was from Paul Parsons.
Okay.
Resolution number 25-570, in the matter of the Delaware County Board of Commissioners acknowledging receipt of the written objection, exception to the assessment, and claim for compensations or damages filed by Paul Parsons in the proceedings for the Cancelgate Watershed Drainage Improvement Project and denying the exception and claim.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Vote.
Vote on motion 25-570. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Okay. Thank you.
Then the only other written things we received were actual pictures that people will use during their testimony this morning.
Right, okay, thank you. All right, we have acknowledged the receipt of any written testimony, and now I'm going to first call those wishing to testify in favor of the project. And if you'll come forward and state your name and address, and I will swear you in. Anybody wishing to testify in favor?
Good morning.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
I'm going to swear you in before you even give your name. That way, we've got everything covered. Okay?
Sure.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Oh, yes. Name and address.
My name's Stephen Corvey. Stephen's with a PH. Corvey is C-O-R-V as in Victor I.
Okay.
I live at 6138 Chancellgate Drive.
Can you identify your lot or your,
Yeah, it's number 23. And I actually am the one who started the project and submitted the petition with 5 others.
Okay. Thank you. Oh, proceed.
Oh, okay.
Why are you in favor? Why
Okay,
did you submit
okay,
the
I'm sorry.
petition? Sorry.
Well, thank you for having me here today. So the reason I'm in favor is through this process, it's been very long, and tedious unfortunately, but that's the way things go. I found 5 years ago that we had this problem out there. There's about 4 inches of rain. I went to the property. I haven't been able to build on it yet because we have this overflow problem of this pond. When you saw the view where the outlet's supposed to go for all this water, this is one of the pictures.
Okay, and thank you for the pictures.
Oh, yeah, and they're within the last 5 years. I don't know if there's dates on them or not, but these are kind of the same pictures that were actually submitted before at one of the other hearings, before we move forward with this. So there's nowhere for this water to go. And the necessity really is we really just need to move the water from this pond as it comes in from the inlets and outlet and get it towards the river. So, you know, there's 4 or 5 other properties that are involved with this that I actually learned through this process where this water goes. So, you know, at that point, I was like, okay, what do I do here? So my thought was, I'm going to rent some equipment, try to fix this thing. Well, I can't do that. I can't go through on other people's property and start digging and trying to create trenches and move. Well, I can't even do it. I can't even do it on my own property. I can't move water from my property and push it onto somebody else's. It's against the law. So anyways, so that was kind of the reason I came to soil and water. That was the only other option that I felt that I had. Other than that, the reason I'm speaking for this is for when it comes to the public welfare portion of all this, this is to reduce water damage to homes and basements. 2 of the homes have already been flooded twice. The amount of erosion of land from all this water runoff has caused a problem with all the overflow going over the topography of the ground. Mr. Grout, who lives behind me, where a lot of this erosion flows, he's unable to get to the back of his property now. So now I contacted him in the spring and said, you know, Doug, do you mind if I go back there and, you know, start clearing out some of this brush? And he said, sure, as long as you don't cut down any trees, but I can't even get back in there with a mower because it'll sink. And part of the deed restrictions for the properties in the Chancellgate area are fields and grasses shall be mowed regularly as required to avoid accumulation of trash or the establishment of breeding grounds for insects in areas, you know, amenable to regular flooding and ponding of water. So that's kind of an issue that we have also. The standing water problem, you know, and moisture from the overflowing water can cause infestations of mosquitoes. Now we have this big, huge overgrowth of brush. There's a tick problem. I think we've all been aware of that over the summer that, you know, the public health system has been talking about. So we need to get all of this cleared, get the water drainage moving so that we can maintain the property and reduce a lot of these problems. Also, as far as, you know, the future costs, I mean, if we stop here today, we don't do anything, The problem's not gonna fix itself. If you look through some of these pictures, it's gotten worse. This is flowing water that's just going wherever it wants to go over, over top of the ground. So the problem won't fix itself, it'll just continue to get worse. In the future, it's gonna cost more money, because I'm afraid we'll end up being back here again with the same problem, and if this would have got completed 5 years ago, now, which I know it doesn't work that fast. Think of how, I know, it's okay. Think of how much cheaper it would have been 5 years ago to fix this problem as compared to today. I bet it would have been half the cost. Looking with inflation's gone up, the cost of labor, the cost of material. So, I'd like to get this done today, if we can. The other problem, which would be a big issue, speaking with my builder, is my household sewage. So, there's no public sewage out there, it's leach fields. So with this overflowing of water, I can't have all this water sitting on top of my septic system. The cost of repairing septic systems, is over $10,000 and higher, and is gonna continue to grow also. One nice thing about, when you talk about cost benefit, is this should improve the value of the community. Less than a mile away, there are vacant lots for sale going for more than $250,000. They don't have any water problems. Now, that's nice because they have a street with some storm drains and stuff. So that's nice too. But $250,000 for a lot. I bought my lot, comparable, almost the same size, a little bigger, for $92,000. So value's already going up for the nicer neighborhoods. Plus the fact that, the home, when I go to build it, it will be $1 million. That brings value into the neighborhood. There's no other home that cost that much to be built, and that means everybody else's property values go up. So that's a benefit to the neighborhood. In closing, I'd like to say that I think every community that has no water problems, it's a benefit. And this project, I have confidence in Soil and Water and the county engineer that this project is going to fix the issues. That's what my main goal was with this. I had no intention of pushing the cost off on my neighbors who were here today, speaking in opposition of it. I didn't even know what anything like this was. I just thought that 5 properties were going to get this fixed and we were going to move on. So that's really what I have for my testimony. Do you have any questions?
Any other questions?
Uh,
Okay.
And about the pictures, some of the pictures that were on there, I took most of those.
No, that was helpful.
There were a few other pictures that I sent yesterday. I don't know if you guys got them or not. If you didn't, that's fine.
We did, yeah.
Okay, but were you able to get them up there?
A little bit.
I did a couple
A little
videos.
bit differently, but they are here as well.
While we're waiting on that, my notes from back for the first hearing was, you also had a mosquito issue or mosquitoes because of standing water, is that?
Yeah, so, when you have a lot of ponding of water from the overflow of this pond, it just starts sitting there, and then you start getting infestations from mosquitoes and things like that. And, I know ponds bring bugs, but you can mitigate that to a minimum if we don't have water just going, everywhere.
Okay.
And I think that would, obviously I think that would benefit the public welfare. And really, for a fact also, if we can get it dried out enough so we can get back and get this brush knocked down, so we don't have any tick problems or anything. Mm-hmm. I understand it's kind of a rural residential area, it's not an inner city neighborhood. But when you start getting the overgrowth of a lot of brush, it just becomes a lot of problems. Plus the fact that the deed restrictions say that we have to maintain our properties, and some of us are unable to do that. This is an overflow of water. It's just kind of running across the top of the ground, coming out of the pond. It's kind of what you've seen before, but I guess I could just refresh your memory with it,
All right.
unless you don't want to see them.
No, and you've given us a lot of pictures, which was very helpful.
Okay.
And
Okay.
Sent
You've had a
ahead.
chance to review them then before or not?
sent ahead of time.
Okay.
Oh, Thank
So
you.
that's my testimony. I appreciate your time. Thank you for having me today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else wishing to testify in favor of the petition? And I will swear you in, and then if you could please give me your name, address, and your lot number. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm David Reno at 6066 Chancel Gate, lot 25, thank you. So,
25?
yeah.
25.
I have about 7.5 acres. I have I believe, the single largest parcel in this, other than 43, which is part of the homeowners association of the neighborhood north of us. It's also one of the original signers along with Steve. So, let's see, yeah. Yeah, so some of the kind of the problems we've been having at our place is that, you know, we have 2 sump pumps, and they're supposed to eject to the open ditch along the south end of my property, but that ditch is regularly backed up, and so they can't eject, so I had to create a diverter to dump the water into the side of my yard, which also contributes to water ponding in my neighbor Dave's backyard as well as my backyard. If I don't do that, I have to get water in the basement. I've got some, yeah, I think put a few photos there. That's my pond there and dog, and it's not supposed to be that big. This hole over there is expanding. There's one good one in the ditch too. Yeah, here's another situation where it's just flooding basically in heavy rains. My pond and the larger community pond, if you will, almost joined together. Water floods so bad between them.
All the water we're seeing here is out of the pond? I mean, this is not part of the pond anywhere, is it?
Correct,
Okay.
correct. That's supposed to be just grass. That's, I believe, the area between the 2 ponds. That's not supposed to be there. There it is again a little bit later after you can see it's all muddy and soupy still, but not currently flooded. And here's one too. So the woods, which is north of me there, you can see where it's cutting its own channel. There's about 3 different paths cutting from the woods into my pond. And also, speaking of mosquitoes, the woods doesn't drain. The whole woods stays kind of flooded, and that's definitely breeding mosquitoes and ticks and other fun stuff. Let's see, there's a picture of the ditch. That'd be, that's another one of the ponds joining. Oh, this is a good one, the ditch. So that's supposed to be an open ditch from the circle, from the road to the larger pond. And during really heavy rain, it completely backs up, which then will start backing up onto Chancel Gate Circle, the drive. And I know I have some neighbors that are a little bit uphill from me that don't see much benefit or wonder about the benefit, but if we get really, really heavy rains, like does happen occasionally, that could start flooding our street and maybe back into their basements, because when the one pond can't drain, my pond can't drain, that ditch can't drain, then it just keeps going uphill. That's an interesting picture.
Didn't
Abstract
turn out
picture
right.
there.
Didn't quite turn out right. Got one more email that you sent.
And you sent us a lot of good pictures, which was helpful.
Yeah, and there's a couple showing the woods, where the woods kind of
Okay.
floods. But there were some pictures of what, oops,
The wood,
what's
so
going on there?
one didn't turn out as well.
And like Steve mentioned, I've tried to figure out what can I do myself. For example, I have a little towable backhoe trencher. I actually dug 200 feet between the 2 ponds and put in 4-inch PVC myself to connect the overflows of the ponds, and that helped a little bit, but because the big pond has nowhere to drain, you can only do so much. And I've really thought hard about what could I do, but there's not too much I can do to fix it myself without going to other places, other neighbors, excuse me. And yeah, just echo what Steve said, that good drainage will help the values. Steve, building on that last, essentially the last open lot would help our values too, I think.
Okay.
Because basically in the spring, I'm fortunate enough that my house is uphill enough that my basement doesn't flood with my sump pump fix, but the whole back half of my property is just not really usable in the spring.
Okay.
That's all I have. Any questions on the pictures? Or?
So is it wet now, your backyard?
Well, because of the drought last year, this year hasn't been as bad. So my pond actually dried up quite a bit last year, so this spring it held more, or it could deal with it better. So the spring it was soupy, but right now, it's not too bad right now. But the rains have made it a little bit. There's some ponding, like around the woods, there's some grading that needs to get done there, and I could probably handle that if I need to, but yeah.
Well, when you have those, like the open channels that are filled with water, how long does it take to drain those? You know, a day or two, or week, or?
Well, so it will be partially backed up enough that my sump pump and my storm drains won't work. That doesn't take much to block those. The picture where I had totally flooded, that was in 2023 during a pretty heavy rain. That's not too often it gets that bad. But during a really heavy rain, it's kind of, it could. But to answer your question, as far as like the partially filled, it could be a couple days after the rain stops. And I don't know if I mentioned too, I've had some sections of my driveway that are crumbling because I believe there's probably a perforated drain tile under that section, and when the ditch backs up, it can't drain, so it's now essentially flooding underneath my driveway, and the concrete's coming apart.
Okay.
Are you getting water in your basement?
I am not, but I would if I didn't change my sump pump ejection, because I have two sump pumps, and one ejects to the north, and that one supposed to go into a drain pipe to the ditch. But when the ditch gets water in it, which is very common, a little bit of water in it, that can't drain, so it was coming into my basement. So I created put another pipe in there, so when it can't go through the drain pipe, it just ejects into the yard, about 10 feet out. But then that contributes to the ponding between my property and where the utility boxes for the power and cable and fiber and all that good stuff, and to Dave's yard next door, which is lot, I don't know, 31, I think. It's 51, sorry.
Okay. Thank you.
All right,
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to testify in favor of the project? Anybody who wishes to testify in favor of the project? Is there anyone who wishes to testify in opposition to the project? If you'd please come forward and state your name, address, and lot number, and I will first swear you in. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
If I could just give you.
Your name and.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Darryl Miller, 6164 Chancellgate Drive. That's property number 22 on the map there. I have this map, if I could just give it to you. I created this myself just to have during my
Okay.
little talk here. It's the same map from the thing, it just shows a little bit different.
Okay.
A little bit different of a watershed than what we see.
Okay.
So, like I said, I'm mainly against the project, but, could be for it if the amount of people that are affected by this could be changed. When we had the preliminary hearing in 2021, I brought up the fact that since we're including all 54 of these properties in the watershed, that then therefore it's basically a regional retention pond project. And I said the county should pay for it because that means that it wasn't installed or put in correctly when the subdivision was built. The county response, quote, "This is not a regional retention pond," end quote. So if it's not a regional retention pond, then what is it? We have a privately owned pond that has drainage issues. I'm a civil engineer. For 22 years, I've designed or oversaw the design of hundreds of ponds, surface drainage, grading projects. So I know how these ponds are constructed, designed, and operated. And like I said, 54 properties included in this watershed, and only 5 of them will see a direct benefit from this project. The other 48, we will not see a benefit because our properties sit higher than the elevation of this pond, with no opportunities for water to go from our properties to the pond. So to include everyone in the watershed means that everyone needs to see some sort of benefit from it. That also means that you also have to be able to convey water to this pond from the watershed. We've all seen what a retention pond is, right? You drive through a subdivision and all the drainage from the surface drainage from the houses, from the sump pumps, all goes to those common ponds. Well, that's not what we have here. Although our surface drainage goes to the roadside ditches, which don't drain properly anyways, and this project will not do anything to fix the ditches. So the water goes in the ditches, goes down the street, and then it doesn't go anywhere near the pond. So the bottom line is, to include all 54 of these people here, you have to be able to convey water to the pond so that everybody sees an improvement. My property sits 10 feet above the pond, with no ditches, pipes, or any way for the water to drain to this pond. And that is the same for the majority of the rest of the properties other than the 5 that we mentioned. I would just love to hear how my property is going to be improved or whatever, and why should I, write a check for $1,200 to fix a pond that's privately owned. I hope Steve can get it built and build a house. I think it needs to be kind of condensed into the people that are actually going to benefit from it. And that's why my bottom, lastly, I think let's reduce this to the amount of people that will actually see benefit from it. I've got some downspouts on my property that are leaking. Should I submit a petition and have everybody pay for it since we're in the watershed? I don't think that would be right. If you do approve it with all 54 property owners, then I would ask that you add a walking path to the pond so that we can all enjoy it. Because we're paying for it, might as well get some use out of it. So that's all I have. I appreciate your time and consideration for this.
Okay, thank you. I will take anyone else who wishes to speak in opposition to the project.
Good morning.
Morning, I will swear you in. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Or if you could state your name, address, and your lot number, please.
I do. My name is Rob Court. I'm at 6187 Chancellor Gate Drive, lot number 53.
Say again, please.
Lot number 53?
53?
Yes.
Okay.
I didn't anticipate reading my notes, but I'm going to go ahead and read them. I think I've captured
Okay.
a lot here based on what has been said thus far. Just to give you a little bit of back history, I have 22 years in construction, commercial and as well as residential construction, so I'm quite familiar with grading, civil, and a number of other aspects of construction. This is not a retention pond and is therefore is little to no grade to the pond. The city has also mentioned in previous hearings that this is not a retention pond. Since it's not, then it's not a public responsibility. If it is a retention pond, then the site development plans that were submitted to the city by the general contractor were approved by the city. The city would have to inspect and approve then that the site was developed properly. If that's not the case, if that wasn't the case, then there would be some sort of obligation by the city or the developer who is no longer in business to rectify the issue. All the benefits previously mentioned by Brett are not true and accurate. There are no road issues, no quality of life, positive neighborhood perception, resale value, higher resale values are all invalid and simply untrue, with all due respect. Steve, I appreciate your comments. Not personal, as I'm sure you would agree. You do not currently live at the property. You do own the property, as you stated. I agree that there is water there, and improper grade has provided improper water flow. Public welfare, you mentioned 2 basements have flooded. You mentioned tick issues, overgrown areas. Yes, I would agree that there are overgrown areas, but this is a private property issue. This is not a general public issue. As landowners, you and Dave are responsible, as well as the 5 that have petitioned this, to take care of your property. You mentioned the value of your home, $1 million plus. Thank you, but that's not my choice. We do not have any tick issues more than anywhere else in the area. Steve had also mentioned that there were 5 homeowners affected that would pay for this, not the neighborhood, verbatim. He said that he anticipated the 5 homeowners affected by this to pay for it, not the entire neighborhood, quote unquote. This work should be paid for by those affected by the private pond and not the community. If this is not a retention pond as stated, then there are no private homeowners that should be paid or held be responsible for the fix. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to testify in opposition to the project?
Hi there.
I'll swear you in first, sir. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
My name's Mark Selmick, and I live at 4743 Canterbury Circle, so I'm on that other leg. And my plot is number 20. You can see there. I'm one of the original first-time homeowners, so there's a couple of us here that moved in as this was being developed. I know this, I'm not here to air past grievances, but we have had early on had some drainage issues over on the Canterbury Circle side. And I think homeowners tried to bring some of those issues up with the county, and they weren't really well received. We were told we had to handle those drainage issues. One example, the homeowner's not here, the homeowners of plot number 21 at the end of that circle right there, that's a circle, and there originally was a swale all the way around that circle. And all the water drains right out of our subdivision, right on that property line between 21 and 34, if you can see that. There's a property line there, and there's a swale there. Well, that homeowner from plot 21, at his own expense, dug that whole swale out deeper and put a huge culvert in to move the water to the benefit of our whole community, and tiled behind, his property, all around his property, tiled all around his property, put a huge culvert in. It's a 24-inch, a surface drain. Looks very professional, like something the county or the city would do, at his own expense. All the people that live on that circle, 49, 21, 34, and 4, have, at their own expense, buried culverts underneath so they wouldn't have to have a ditch that would handle the water around that circle, to the benefit, really, of our whole community. The water flows right through that Canterbury Circle, right towards properties 21 and 34. My point is, I've maintained my ditch. I've dug it out over the years in front of 20, because I'm at the end. When you're building houses, there's runoff, there's soot, there's sill. So over the years, I've had to maintain my ditch, clean it up, keep that water flowing. We don't have today, you mentioned in the letter, the benefits, $8,700, per lot. Many of these people have already spent that. They spent the $8,700 to move their drain. We've already made this investment, and now it feels like we're being asked to pay again for drainage problems that aren't really benefiting us. Today, we've had heavy rains, and I can say our ditches, at least along Canterbury Circle, are running fine. I haven't seen major, the water will be there a day or so, but I don't doubt that there's some issues over on that property as mentioned. But on our side, we've paid. People have invested, maintained their ditches, and it feels to me like I'm being asked to pay for this guy's issue over here. Those ponds, I imagine, were put in by the owners or the developers. This goes back to the original developer. Did they handle the drainage problems? Did they tell the owners, you have to handle it? What was the arrangement with the county? I'm not a civil engineer, or I'm not real familiar with all these workings, but I'm imagining that the county has specifications. The builders, the developers have to either take care of these drainage issues, or the homeowner has to take care of some of these drainage issues. That's what we were told, over on our wing. That's what many have done to many thousands of dollars already. So those are just my comments. And so I hope that this problem can get solved. I just feel like it's sort of an unfair cost for us. We've already made our investment in the drainage of our properties. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to testify against the project? And I will swear you in, ma'am. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Sharon Cook, and my husband is here as well, Fred Cook. We're at 4820 Hyatt's Road. Our partial is,
I believe you're number 3.
3. Okay.
Okay.
Couldn't see it.
3. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, we've been here for 37 years. We were on the first houses, some of the first houses built there on Hyatt's Road before Canterbury or any of the Chancellgate area was even developed. So we were there and we watched it all. But we are against granting the proposed improvements as they're currently proposed. We don't disagree. Individuals have issues of their own, but we're against paying for the cost, and we agree with everyone else that it's a private issue. The cost of engineering and construction and all the future maintenance, which is going to be variable because it's going to be ongoing forever. And if it doesn't affect your property, and even, I don't know who drew the lines for the watershed, but if our properties aren't having issues, and as Mark Selmick has already stated, we're back to back, that ditch that went between Canterbury Circle and Hyatt's Road that was dug out, we meticulously, my husband meticulously digs out that ditch, mows that ditch and weeds that ditch, and all of our neighbors, even my next door neighbor, he maintains that ditch so well. And we keep it cleared out, and we've also had to put in our own drain tiles out front for the front ditch on the main road of Hyatt's Road over the years. And when the county recommended, when it was just a regular ditch and the water would just, run and flow, we put the tiles in for that so that they're underground, which helped everything there. We're not having any current issues. We've never had any water in our basement in 37 years. And we're all happy where we are, but we just think that land improvements are for the homeowner. We've had to always take care of ours. We've never asked any of our neighbors to ever help us pay for anything on our property. We've always maintained it. As far as the ditch goes and all of the tiling that we've done, and all the extra culverts that we've had to put in under driveways, and we've tiled those, and it's never pushed any water on anybody else's property or our neighbors. And as far as I know, both of my neighbors on both sides of me haven't had any water problems. And we all talk all the time. So, but like I said, we've been there 37 years. We are in what was called, when it started, the River Highlands Subdivision 2, where it's not the Chancellgate subdivision or whatever. And when that was put in a few years later after we built there, the roads weren't even in to go back to Chancellgate or any of the Canterbury roads. They weren't even there yet. I know some of the areas back there, and a lot of the neighbors back there over the years, and not any particular, I don't know this particular person, but I just agree with everybody else that if there's a small group of people that this is affected, that I don't think tax costs should go to everybody when you're 5, 6, 8 miles away from somebody. And that's all I have to say today. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else wishing to testify in opposition to the project?
Thanks, Commissioners.
I will swear you in, sir. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help
Yes.
you God. Thank you.
My name is Ralph David Gannon. I live at 6054 Chancel Gate Drive, property 51.
Okay.
I was one of the first home builders in the Phase 2 of Chancel Gate, and I've spent thousands of dollars correcting drainage issues from my property to make sure it goes out to the ditch. And in the first meeting that we had, there was a little bit better picture of property 43, the woods, because it showed about a quarter of my property on the northwest side. Water was coming from 43, coming across the corner of my property into the Reno's property. And if this would go through, how these yellow lines are proposed, you're charging, I'm gonna have to pay over 6.5% of this, and I own less than 3 acres, which is totally unfair. And if this plan would go through, you're not even catching the water off my property that comes from 43. So there'd be no benefit to me at all, or my property. And that's all I have to say.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to testify against the project?
Hello.
Thank you. I will swear you in. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
My name is Chad Ellis. I live at 4695 Canterbury Circle, and that is lot number 18 on the map.
Okay.
I just want to come up and just talk to the decision factors that the county proposed of, is this project necessary? Really, the two that stick out to me is this project necessary? Factor number one for you guys to make your decisions, as well as number three, is the cost of the proposed improvement less than the benefits of the drive? And I think from, looking at all the conversations from both for and against, I think it's easy to say that of 49 of 54, the project is not necessary, and the benefit is less than the cost. If you look at the 5 that brought this project forward, 1 and 3 would be benefit for them and is a project that's necessary for their private pond, but it doesn't benefit the 49 of the 54. So I think if you're looking at what this project is needed, it's needed, and like they even communicated, they didn't want to bring in the whole community. They believe that it would be their 5 properties that would be dealing with this, and now it's 54 properties that are dealing with this. So I think if you just look at those 2 factors of them being willing and saying this is something that we thought would be a private issue, and now it's a public issue, is something that's not necessary in terms of us moving forward. So, thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to testify in opposition to the project? And I will swear you in, sir. You're all ready. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Thank you.
Hi, Steve Veach, 6099 Chancel Gate Drive. And it's parcels, there's 3 of them, 7, 26, and 6.
7, 26, and 6.
Yeah, my property's over on the right side of Chancel Gate Drive.
Okay.
Agreed with what has been said as far as opposition. As with Mr. Gannon, we are one of the original owners or builders back in Chancel Gate. Been there since 2001. Not had any issues on our property as far as drainage goes. However, when we did build our house and developed our 3 parcels there, we paid for our own drainage on our property. So we had to spend our money to do that, and we're to build there. And would expect that if anybody has a lot, in this case we're talking about private ponds, that would be their expense, not the public expense to either install or fix. So that's the reason why I'm in opposition.
Okay,
Questions? Thank you.
thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to testify against the project? I will swear you in, sir. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
My name is Charles Mills. I live at 6225 Chancel Gate, which is parcel number 40 on the map. I just want to reinforce that obviously there are folks much more knowledgeable in engineering than myself. So I don't think need to rehash the fact that these are probably not retention ponds. Speaking personally, I've lived in the house or on the property for 5 years. My wife has lived there for 13 years, and there has been zero issue with water. Our ditch fills up to about 3 or 4 inches after big rains. The next day, it usually is absorbed back into the soil. So it's a total non-issue for us. Something else, and I apologize for my ignorance, but something else that we had noticed was even if the petition is vacated, we're still on the hook for $6,000 as residents. Is that something that's mandated by law, or is that go along with the petition?
Is that Brett? Do you want to address that, please? Thank you.
That is a decision for the board. If the board denies the petition, you have the option of assessing the cost to date back to the landowners in the same ratio as proposed by the schedule of assessments, or the board can choose to absorb those costs.
So that would be, you say it's 6,000 divided
That's
among-
estimated. It would be, so if somebody has a 2% share of the project as far as the proposed construction cost, they would have 2% of that estimated at $6,000 cost. But it is totally a decision of the board,
Okay.
and I don't know.
2,000, or I mean, whatever percent of the
It's the same ratio.
6,000.
Yes, it would be the same ratio as proposed in the schedule of assessments. I don't know if Eric wants to, is there anything, or did I
Nope,
get
that's
it?
a good summary.
Okay.
Okay.
So in that case, then I would also like to voice my opposition to the dissenting landowners being responsible for that cost as well.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to testify against the project? And I will swear you in, sir. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
My name is Victor Matlook. I live in 4710 Canterbury Circle. That'd be lot 5. So we actually are right adjoining to the ponds. Never in the 4 years that my wife and I have bought the property have we had issues. Any issues that we did have, we resolved them ourselves. So like when we bought the property, we had a slight negative slope. So what did I do? I had dirt delivered and I fixed the issue on my own. That is why I'm opposing this whole project, because it shouldn't be on everybody that it does not benefit. Questions?
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to testify against the project? And I will swear you in, sir. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Thank you.
My name is Kenneth Willis. I'm at 4760 Hyatt's Road. Lot numbers are, let's see, 48 and 32.
Say again, sir?
48 and 32.
Thank you.
Now, I know that these people up here have a problem, and I spent most of my life as a plumber, so I understand water and how it has to be handled and mishandled. But, I'm a farmer now, and our property drains very well into the ditch that's beyond our property at the back. And I get out there all the time, and I'm making sure that that section of my area there is cleared and all. And I also check, I have a drainage dish in lot 32 that drains into that trench. And I keep that clean, so it's continually draining the water off from our yard. And our house is raised up, so it all drains out the back. So we don't have flooding in our house. And we have a full basement, well, actually a half basement. And that does not get flooded for any water that's coming down in rain or anything. That's all getting drained off. So
So if I'm reading this correctly, your assessment's $10 and $10. Is that accurate?
that is correct.
Okay.
As you go by, you know, lots, okay? That one lot, 32, was supposed to be a road originally. And when we bought the house back in 2014, it was, you know, a part of the sale to buy both, the house and our property and that lot. And actually, we used that, all that property because I planted an orchard and all over there because we grow our own fruits and vegetables. And also, that's where our livelihood is at this point. But I have no problem with them taking care of what they have. But I have maintained our property the way I need to keep us from having a problem. So I am against this as a total thing that includes all of us, us that don't even have a problem. So.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who wishes to testify against the project? Okay.
Can we have Brett come up for a second? Brett, one of the questions that, you know the question I'm going to ask. I ask it every time. Have you heard anything today that would change your recommendation?
No, I don't think so. I would like to address the pond. That seems to be a central point of contention. The pond could not be there. It could not exist, and the drainage problems or the solution to the drainage problems in the area would remain the same. The drainage problems exist because of a lack of sufficient surface grade and a lack of an adequate subsurface drainage outlet for the watershed. The pond is not a retention pond, and retention and detention ponds, they're not drainage features, they're stormwater mitigation features. So they provide no benefit from a drainage aspect. They're constructed to mitigate the effects of development downstream. So the plan as we proposed would create that adequate surface grade in the watershed and create an adequate subsurface drainage outlet. The other thing I would like to address, the comment was made about I believe it said the city, but I think what the person making the testimony was really referring to was the county inspecting or not inspecting those areas. These areas predate any engineering requirements for stormwater considerations or drainage design and considerations for development. So there was no county involvement, no authority to have county involvement in the construction of any of these areas. So I think it's just important to note that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about
Yeah,
that, Brett. Do you know the dates about when Canterbury and Chancellorgate were developed, built?
I don't know the exact building dates. The Canterbury Circle was platted in 1990s, so I'm going to say early 1990s. The Chancellorgate area has gone through a re-subdivision. I did look at that. The re-subdivision was in 2000, but I believe construction was probably started before then. If it was a re-subdivision, that means it was subdivided once and then subsequently looked at again. So.
Because there was no rules or regulations at the time some of these areas were built, the purpose of the legislation is to provide a solution.
That's correct, yes. So the purpose of 6131 is to allow landowners to make that request to your board to seek drainage improvements. I think the other thing that we've heard is I'll say the sentiment that it should just be the 5 landowners. I certainly understand and appreciate that sentiment, but 6131 is very specific that if you contribute water to a system constructed under this improvement, you shall be considered as benefited. So the county really has no option. Once the petition request is made, everybody that drains into the project is going to have a proposed assessment for the project. Now, obviously, the board has the option to approve or deny this petition based on the testimony you've heard, but if we do move forward with the project, then state law directs us to consider everyone as benefited.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to close the hearing.
Okay, we'll note the time as 11:35.
Okay. Board members, time to discuss and make a decision.
I'll go first. You know, I understand the concern, or the 49 of the 54 aren't affected. But it is your water that is finding its way into these other areas, these other 5. And we're kind of limited by what the legislation requires us to look at and evaluate. And I'm probably as strong on principle as anybody in this room. Many times I have fought the battle based on principle. We had the one gentleman that had, I think, $20 in assessments. So I think he's here as much as anything on the basis of principle, and I understand that argument. But I also have a lot of empathy and sympathy for those people that are affected by this. And I also believe that the benefits to be derived for the watershed exceed the cost in total. And therefore, I do support the petition, and I will recommend that we vote in favor. But I'd like to hear the other comments from the other board members.
Sure. Why don't you read the, are you asking the clerk to read that?
Sure, yeah, go ahead and read it. Yep.
Resolution number 25-571, in the matter of finding in favor of the improvement and affirming the order for the Chancellorgate Watershed Drainage Improvement Project.
So moved.
And second.
Discussion.
Yeah, I guess I would echo Commissioner Merrill's comments. There is a very common misconception, and I understand it. I probably would have the same thinking that if I'm not going to benefit, then I shouldn't have to pay anything. Well, again, your property contributes water to the area, or to the watershed, and therefore you are deemed to have benefited. And secondly, I don't think that this problem can be solved by just a few landowners, and that's a big issue as well. There has to be something bigger than just those 4 or 5 parcels, because the problem is downstream from that, and therefore this is the resolution that the Ohio Revised Code offers. So anyway, I support it as well.
I support this too. The benefit does exceed the cost. And again, this is before us because the legislature has passed this law and we have to follow it. And it's something very difficult to understand after being in those hearings several years now, we all have. The movement of water. It is not as unfortunately some landowners are thinking I'm not affected by it. The purpose of the watershed was drawn to include those who were affected by it, whether the water is actually, whether you can actually see it or not, and certainly understand where you're coming from. Call for the vote.
Vote on motion 25-571. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Resolution number 25-572, in the matter of Commissioners confirming assessments, approving the payment schedule, and ordering the letting of contracts for the Chancellorgate Watershed Drainage Improvement Petition Project.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Vote.
Vote on motion 25-572. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Any further business today?
We have no further business. We are adjourned.